Today we are going to discuss the question, are anti-hunting campaigns misleading you? Many people across the world may be wondering about this, and hopefully our panelists will be able to answer this question for you. The Community Leaders Network recently sent a complaint to the Charities Commission in the UK about certain public campaigns against conservation hunting in Africa. Today, I'm speaking to 4 of the 50 network leaders to find out more about what they would like the public to know about misleading statements made during these anti-hunting campaigns. I have with me on this discussion, Maxi Lewis from Namibia. Maxi is the director of the Namibian Association of CBNRM Support Organization, NASCO, and chair of the Community Leaders Network. She has been working on the community-based natural resource management program for the past 15 years. I also have Sioka Simasiku from Botswana. Sioka is the executive director of the Ngamiland Council of NGOs and a member of the Community Leaders Network. He has been working on the community-based natural resource management programs for the past 7 years. And lastly, I have Charles Jonga from Zimbabwe. Charles is the director of the Community Areas Management Program for Indigenous Resources, CAMFIRE. He has been working for the CAMFIRE program since 1999. So I have here some statements made publicly in the media by some anti-hunting groups and some statements made by the same groups to the UK government. So my guests will give us their views on the statements to help inform you, our listeners, of the African perspective of these issues. So I will start with the first statement. It says that only 3% of revenue from trophy hunting ever makes it to the communities affected by hunting. The rest goes to national governments or foreign-based outfitters. So this statement appears many times in the media. So I want to give each of my guests a chance to respond. So I will start with you, Charles. You can go first.
Yeah, that statement has been repeated many, many times. Yet no one who quotes it seems to do any fact checking to find out if it is true. Because we know that it is not true in our countries. We looked for the source of this figure. And someone I know personally wrote this report way back in 2008 after collecting data on the benefits of hunting in Tanzania. And having seen that report, I can say with certainty that this famous 3% was corporate social responsibility only, above and beyond the legal payment that the hunters make. The actual percentage, to my recollection, of revenue received by communities living next to those hunting blocks in Tanzania at the time was around 25%.
Thank you, Charles, for that. Yeah, Maxi, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Charles. I also just want to thank Charles for clarifying. What I want to know, for instance, from people that quote this figure, do they think Africa is a country? Do they think we all have the same policies? The reality is that each country is different. And the percentage of income from hunting that goes to communities differs from one country to another country. Let me give you an example in terms of Namibia. We get 100% of the agreed hunting fee when operators work in communal areas or communal conservancies. But that does not mean the same for every country.
Yeah. Thank you, Maxi. Sioka, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, adding to what my colleagues have said, it's basically disheartening to see people alluding to a problem that they identify at a certain document to Africa and say that's the true picture of our Africa. Because if you come to individual countries in Southern Africa, especially if you come to Botswana, you would find that the hunting benefits in terms of income contribution, all 100%, that is actually derived from hunting. It's towards the communities, and the government is actually not getting anything from what the community have actually derived from that. And it's used for different things like income for household, income for water reticulation for those communities. So these kind of misleading statements basically tarnishes how we actually benefit from our biodiversity. Thank you.
Thank you, Sioka, for that. So I have another statement. So this one says, trophy hunting is a cruel relic of a colonial era practiced predominantly by a global elite that results in intense animal suffering and disruption of wildlife population while contributing little or nothing to local economies or conservation. It is also wrapped by corruption and greed. I want to give Max and Charles a chance to speak to this one. So Maxi, you can share your thoughts first and then Charles.
You know, maybe Moreangels, you know, the money from jobs and food we get from hunting does not look like much to the people in the UK, but it is very, very important to us. Many of our conservancies, and I'm taking an example in Namibia, would shut down completely if there was no hunting and no income. That means no more game guards that are doing their patrolling in these areas, no more meat, no more jobs, and no more funds for human-wildlife conflict, which is one of our biggest challenges. If we did that to these communities, why would we expect them to keep living with these dangerous animals? Before COVID-19, our conservancies earned around 39 million from, this is Namibian dollars from hunting. That might not sound like much in British pounds, but it is very important source of income for us and our communities.
Thank you, Maxi. And Charles, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, firstly to thank Maxi for these statistics. But I feel I must also respond to that part on corruption and greed in this statement. And yeah, this is where Zimbabwe gets most targeted because of the perceived, national reputation of our government. But I want people to understand that hunting in Zimbabwe's communal areas, the income from hunting also accrues to local communities and the local authorities in each district. And this is done through a direct and transparent revenue sharing system. And under that system, not a cent of that revenue finds its way to the national government, except, of course, the taxes that safari operators pay as part of their obligation. And like you said, Maxi, this income is very important to our rural people. And our campfire system still works, even though our national economy has struggled for many years. Now, let me state categorically that hunting income or hunting in Zimbabwe is not lining the pockets of the elite. It is, in fact, helping the poor. Thank you.
Thank you, Charles, for that. So I have this this last statement that I have here. So this one is very interesting. So the other previous statements were addressed to the UK public, but this one is a completely different one. So it's from the same anti-hunting organization that made the previous statement, but this time they're addressing it to the UK government directly. So they say that we are effectively pulling the rug from under them without immediate alternatives. A hunting ban is introduced without adequate alternative management strategy in place. There could be short-term negative impacts for some species as well as the livelihoods of rural communities. So, wow, what a statement. Sioka, what are your thoughts on this one?
Basically, we find some kind of double standards for this organization that actually put up the statement, because in one way or the other, they still recognize that there will be problems if they actually impose hunting ban. Us as a country, we did that, imposed a hunting ban on ourselves since 2014. We just lifted the hunting ban in 2020. But what we have actually realized is some communities completely, had loss of income, loss of jobs, loss of livelihoods because of that kind of aspect. And this is not, their statement, they say it will have a short-term negative impact, but it's not short-term, it's long-term. Because if you take hunting and photographic, these are two, symbiotic kind of trade in terms of tourism. If you do non-consumptive and consumptive. But if you look at this statement of theirs, they're just looking at one aspect. Some areas within our areas cannot actually support non-consumptive tourism. And such communities that stays in those areas would actually have permanent loss of income. Thank you.
Thank you, Sioka. So I would say that the conclusion from all of the above statements and the responses you have given is very clear, at least to me. So the anti-hunting campaigners are misleading the general public, and this is a real concern for everyone. But another concern we have seen here is that these campaigns use up all of the goodwill that non-Africans have towards African animals and our people. We know there are people out there that really love African animals. So there are so many better ways that you can help us to conserve our wildlife and support rural livelihoods. I would like to ask each of my guests to suggest the single most important thing that they would like to see supported in each of their countries. So Maxi, I'll start with you. What is your suggestion?
Yeah, thank you, Moreangels. I think one of the biggest challenges that we all have all over the world is that we are all hit by COVID-19. Our communities have been hit hard and we are struggling. When international travels opens again, which I think probably it will open up soon, I want to encourage people to come to my country, Namibia. We even have special websites where you can come and visit these communities and make a contribution. And we have a website called conservationtourism.com.na. That will actually help find, the website itself help people to stay in places where you can meet up with these conservancies. This income will be absolutely critical for getting our conservancies back on their feet. Come and see for yourselves what it feels like in a conservancy, and then also come and enjoy our wildlife, the wildlife that our people are looking after.
Oh, thank you, Maxi. Sioka, what is your suggestion?
I will start by saying, as Botswana, we believe we are a sovereign state and we have the right to discuss and decide on issues which directly affect our livelihoods and well-being. Therefore, would like to encourage the UK government and other international organizations to open up trade in trophies so that the proceeds will support conservation initiatives in Botswana, especially the management of elephants, hence reducing human-wildlife conflicts. Thank you.
Thank you, Sioka. And Charles, let me guess, they must come to Zimbabwe, right? What
Yes.
else would you like to add?
Yes, Moreangels. We Zimbabweans know that they will love our country. Yeah, but I would like to add a little bit to what my two colleagues have just said. And our discussion today is ultimately about changing policies in developed countries that will also affect us in developing countries. Now, there are many good policies that can be developed to help us conserve our wildlife, adapt to climate change even, and develop in a sustainable way. But banning trophy hunting will not achieve any of these things. Instead, it will set us back many years and cause us more poverty, more poaching, and worsen our situation, a situation that's already made worse by COVID-19. And so while we recognize that it's your democratic right to decide what to do with hunting trophies, please find the real facts. Listen to our voices and reconsider this position. Thank you.
Thank you. So I want to thank all of you for participating in this discussion. And as the moderator, I have let my colleagues speak on these issues, but let me just add something. We have seen these several statements from anti-hunting campaigns that are misleading. In the first one, they make a number out of context, like they twist it to mean something different. The other one about the third and the second and the third come from the same organization, but say two different things. What I would like to see from this is that people in the UK, EU, and the US check the information out there against hunting more carefully. Do not believe everything these campaigns say. Finally, echoing my colleagues, please come and see for yourselves how wonderful things are here in Africa. We'll provide you with real information, information you need to make informed decisions. So please come and visit Africa. Thank you.